my pleasure to have you in conversation, and especially on your book, which is Bharat's Path to AI. Dr. Kumar, I think, may I request everyone to keep their phones aside for a while, because this is going to be a very interesting conversation. And why I'm saying so, because here we have a person who is responsible for an organization which is testing the human intelligence in India and conducting the toughest exam in India. So the UPSC chairman is with you, and we are going to discuss about the artificial intelligence. If I may ask you that, I thought I was looking for, options and what I should ask, because, you are asking the questions to everyone. If I may ask you, the question UPSC has asked in one of the recent civil services examination about the artificial intelligence, and the question reads like, the application of artificial intelligence as a dependable source of input for administrative rational decision making is a debatable issue. How do you analyze this question from the ethical point of view? Because this is the biggest challenge we have as far as the artificial intelligence in the country is concerned.
Yeah, so thank you, Pranay, and thank you everyone for being here. I think we must look at the fundamentals of AI. The value it creates, whether it is in the administrative governance domain or whether it is in business domain, whether it is in social welfare domain, it is going to be ubiquitous. And therefore, there is no question of this not being used. Now, the point, why is it debatable? One of the things on which AI feeds is data. And if we all talk about integrity of data, reliability of data, if the quality of data is poor, obviously AI may not give you the best answers as you would want. The good news is that with Digital India, across government, we have seen sweeping changes in terms of the kind of applications that have come out, and therefore the data that is generated is today absolutely, it doesn't have human interfaces, and therefore much, much more accurate than what it used to be when we used to be, field officers. And therefore, the quality of data is improving. If we create a framework which ensures that biases in data are, not there or mitigated to the extent possible, I think there is no question of AI not being part of governance. It will naturally be there. And we are already seeing in UPSC, for example, we have started using AI and to great effect on various aspects of our work that we are concerned. And we are a small organization. So in governance, I think going forward, we will continuously see increasing use of AI. And in fact, this is going to be the biggest transformational power of governance in the coming years. And this would also be, in my opinion, India's opportunity to leapfrog the distance of development, which
but
has
is UPSC prepared for analyzing and filtering out the AI-generated answers in the exams?
Not yet. So I'm sure that will also happen at some point of time. But no, we are not looking at that. We in UPSC, if I were to say, we use our AI very carefully, and we use our technology very carefully. And we have a lot of, people trust us. People are, people believe that what we do is fair, and therefore, at no cost will we do anything which will in any way belittle their trust. And therefore, no. The short answer to your question, we are not using it for
analyzing. You come with a diverse set of experience from administrative service, having served in Kerala, revived the Kerala Electron company, and after that, Defense METI Additional Secretary, METI Secretary. You have seen the digital journey of India in last more than a decade. How do you look back to this journey of digital India, and what are the areas where we should, immediately work upon? Which are the areas you identify as lacuna in last decade's journey?
So I think, when you're talking of the AI, to my mind, I think from, India's, the areas where India needs to do this is actually to leapfrog in areas where we are lagging. And these are exactly the areas which we seem to be focusing on. For example, health. This is one way of ensuring health for all at a very short period of time. We are looking at education, AI could be our solution for actually providing education to a large number of people, customized to the needs of individual users. AI could be the right way to leapfrog our agricultural productivity and value addition proposition. So I think in areas where we need to leapfrog in development and ensure that we, if you ask me, if you look at it, India today, we all agree, is on the cusp of a takeoff, economic takeoff. However, the second thing that today AI is coming actually really makes it a reality. If we have to achieve 10 to 12% growth on a sustained basis, given the challenges of our economy, our size, I think AI is going to be a big catalyst in being able to do this. And that is where I think the big opportunity for us.
How do you respond to those who are still raising question about the potential, or rather the applicability of AI? Because there are naysayers as well, those who are saying that, this is just a bubble.
No, I think some people question the negative impacts of AI. Now, look at it like this here, that every new technology, whenever it has come, has had its negative impacts. And therefore, AI also has. You had a nuclear technology come, it has its negative downside. You had internet come, it has its negative downside. Any new technology will always have a negative downside. In case of AI, however, the challenge is a little bigger because the disruption and transformation is bigger. And therefore, it's going to be imperative that the policy decisions around AI, the governance frameworks around AI, and which is what my book is about, are actually able to address the disruptions that take place. And one of the challenges here would be, because the technology is changing so fast, we are already looking that AGI is knocking on our doors.
Absolutely, sir. And your book actually mentions about the challenge before India in terms of the job losses. And your first chapter is about that. I want to come to that point because everyone is talking about skilling and upskilling, and India could be a human resource, a generator for the world. But our engineering colleges, if you see, you have mentioned the data, and this is very, a stark data, that 20% of our engineering colleges, out of 6,000 engineering colleges India is having, only 20% are having the STEM courses or the courses which are specialized for AI. How are we going to solve this problem?
Yeah, I think we will need to, there are basically 2-3 things which are essential to be able to do this. We must realize that AI, scaling up of AI human talent is not like scaling up of the human talent for IT outsourcing when we did 20, 30 years back, and which we did so well, and we became a global power, superpower. Because that is more service-oriented industry, process-oriented industry. So there the excellence was in terms of creating a process which worked very well. So someone could outsource work and you did it and gave it back. As long as the process you were following religiously, everything was well. Here, one, you need to have data, good quality data. Second is you need to have more focus on development, unlike services. And third is we need to have infrastructure. You need these 3 things to be able to create the AI talent in the colleges that you just mentioned. The good news is the government is actually totally seized of this matter, and they have announced several programs to ramp up capacities in this regard. The last part is the research and development part. And if you ask me, my own experience in the government and outside the government, when I was outside the government, I am convinced that India has the capacity to do the R&D if the frameworks and the policy frameworks are such which encourage such development of applications. We spoke about agriculture. Who's going to make the applications for agriculture? We spoke about health. Who's going to make those applications? If you create the right access to data, compute, and the third thing, you are going to get the various applications. I will again come back to my experience in UPSC. Some of the very challenging problems that we were facing, we actually asked, we did an AI challenge, and today or yesterday, I think some of those startups who actually came up and delivered for us were recognized in the AI summit. Because they created solutions, to my mind, they're as good as the best that exists in that particular domain of AI in the world. So, once you create...
This is quite big coming from you. For them.
And so, therefore, the point is that I have absolutely no doubt we have the talent. If the requisite...
Are you confident, sir, that we are going to ensure our target of, employment guarantee for everyone, or rather like 100 million jobs for Indians?
Oh, so, here the beauty is, first of all, we must realize these are not only technical jobs. We'll need people who will create the models and the applications which I spoke about. But we're going to need a lot of people who will actually determine the governance, the policy, the ethics, and so on and so forth. Because these are going to get changed a lot. And many of our existing models will need to undergo change with AI coming in. And therefore, there will be jobs for different people. And I think that going forward, the question is not whether we are losing jobs. The question is how many new jobs that we are creating. And the question is, it's not only us that we need jobs. If we are able to skill these people on both the technical side and the governance side, we have the opportunity to create manpower for the world, where people will come and take people, will seek talent from India. You don't have to go and offer them that. So I think the big opportunity of creating 100 million jobs in AI for India, that is one of the things that I cover in my book, is how we can actually become a global supplier of AI for the world. And this window is small. This window is small. We need to do this so that we can supply manpower to the rest of the world. And that's something I would encourage readers to have a look.
Surely, and that's why I think within the small span of time, your book has become a bestseller in the AI category. Congratulations for that. But let me take you backward to your previous role as Defense Secretary. You were the one who actually implemented many AI initiatives for the defense forces, for the armed forces. And we have seen, when you inaugurated, along with the Raksha Mantri, that 75 AI-enabled projects for the armed forces. How do you see, the transformation of Indian armed forces, making them more agile in terms of, and more network-centric with the capability of artificial intelligence?
So I must share this small story with you. I had just got posted as Secretary Defense Production in 2017, and I'd gone from METI. So when I went there, General Bipin Rawat used to be the Chief of Army Staff. Late General Bipin Rawat, who later on became the first CDS of India. Great man, great friend. So on one of my early meetings with him, we were discussing it, and since I had come from IT, this was still, one of my passions. So I said, look, what are the armed forces doing about AI? So he said, that's why I'm saying he's so great. He said, look, we really haven't started using AI, and why don't you do come and give us a briefing? So I said, sure, I'll do that. And then I, fixed a date. And I prepared what I thought was the most optimum thing.
And I think for him, in the Army SITREPs, the acronym used to be the reverse. It used to be IA.
That's so and in the ops room, which is the one of the places where many of these briefings take place, I go there on appointed day, and lo and behold, he had every 3-star general of the army sitting there in that room. And he said, and that's a big deal, because I can't remember in all my 5+ years in MOD when every single 3-star was there. And of course, I made my presentation. The point I'm making is, most of them had not done anything about AI, and I'll come back to this. But he saw that this is something which everyone should hear about. And that's where the vision of a man counts,
Yes.
Of course, that meeting led to, there in that discussion, we decided to create a task force. And the first time in MOD, we created a task force which was not headed by a bureaucrat or by an armed forces officer, but by an industrialist. And guess who? Chandra, the current chair, in fact, then chairman of Tata Sons, he just moved from TCS to Tata Sons that time. He chaired that committee. And that committee created, it gave its recommendations, which got implemented. And this happened in 2018. And within next 3 years, 2022, we had 75 applications. But armed forces, once they take a view and decide, I mean, they do it in very professional, systematic way. I mean, each service deputed officers to IITs to train them on AI. They started creating data infrastructure. They created. So after that, there has been a tremendous momentum. And while I was talking of startups, defense is one place where within the government, there has been systematic way in which adoption of AI has taken. And I think that's a great example of how AI could move. And today, in large number of applications, we see this within the defense.
But sir, don't you think that, India still need to learn about the cybersecurity hygiene? We are a country with 1.4 billion people, and that remains a challenge with all these cases of digital arrest and even the cases of espionage, data stealing, even in the sensitive sector as well, where you take care of so much of security concerns.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think this is one area where we need to be increasingly concerned and paying a lot more attention. And AI is only going to make your task more difficult. So AI is it works both ways. It's going to help you, tell you what your vulnerabilities are, but you still need to plug those vulnerabilities. But AI is also helping all the rogue elements to actually go and hack your system, attack your system in ways which were not possible humanly in the past. So I think this task is becoming more and more difficult. In the end, it's a cat and mouse game. I mean, my feeling is that you need to, I covered this as one of the aspects. Along with cybersecurity, the biggest challenge is coming is on deepfakes and disinformation.
Yes.
And that's something, again, which, I cover in this book of the challenges that AI poses and the modalities that need to be figured out. But I must say one thing. I have, we all know cases of digital arrest, but if you see most of those cases of digital arrest are senior citizens, elderly people. I haven't really come across a youngster coming and saying, I was digitally arrested. My point is, youngsters have an inbuilt fact checker. They have, because they have seen this growing up, the Gen Z really knows to distinguish between fake and a real content much better than a person of my generation who did not see this.
With the youngsters moving for jobs, leaving behind old parents have become more vulnerable. We in states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, we have large number of single parents, or rather large number of old people living alone. These things makes them more vulnerable.
Yeah, so I by no stretch did I want to say that this is extremely important. Awareness and continuous monitoring using AI tools. For example, today one of the areas which have got most affected is elections. I mean, yes. You can change governments using disinformation and deepfakes, and we need to have tools to take down, because you can do a deepfake and in minutes it becomes viral. So you need to take down as soon as possible, because otherwise it would have done its damage. And we need to be extremely vigilant. And this is part of the policy framework that I talk about in this book. These are areas where governments, institutions have to take a step forward and actually make sure that
do we have systems in place with your experience inside the government?
I think we have systems. We have very good systems. We have, for example, for the digital infrastructure, we have the CERTIN, we have the NCIPC, we have NSCS, the National Cybersecurity Coordinator. And if you look at it, they have been issuing advisories continuously. I think the problem is, in the response from the stakeholders. Very often, the people still do not realize that this is serious stuff. I mean, if you can be, your data is hacked, your work can stop and cause you much bigger damage than the small amount that it costs you to actually ensure good, cybersecurity practices are ensured. And I think that realization and that awareness needs to continuously grow.
I think, the biggest problem for any government or a policy regulator is that, when a new technology comes, this is often perceived with a lot of apprehensions. There are a lot of questions about the implementation of the technology. How government of India is looking at artificial intelligence, because recently we have techno-legal framework for that. We have new regulations, even for the deepfake and artificial intelligence produce visuals and videos as well. What is India's approach? Because there are various models in the government. European Union has a different model. America has a different model. What is India's model as far as the regulation of AI is concerned?
So I think this is a great point, and I think that the balance between innovation and risk is the trick here. And you need to have this balance in each country depending on your own social context and your own requirement of how you want to use AI. In India, for example, like I said, AI gives you the opportunity to leapfrog development, leapfrog growth. And we need to make sure that the innovation happens here, the development happens here. So, I think the government's approach, and I discussed this in this book again, is a balance between these two. At the same time, creating an accountability framework for those people who are actually doing the, things which are undesirable. That is something which, so I think I call it a 3-3-3 framework in this book. I encourage those of you who are interested on the subject of what could potentially be a good framework. So there are 3 points on all of this. One is on innovation, risk, and accountability. And on each of this, what could be the 3 parameters which could determine what a good framework would be. Having said this, you see the other big strength that India brings to the table is ability to scale up fast. And this is something which the world is totally amazed.
I think our digital payments have taught this thing to
digital payment, Aadhaar, DVT, you have it. And so many other implementations today have become so universalized, where people said, country with 75% rural population, lack of digital awareness, digital saksharta. Each of this, we have just kind of been able to override this. And therefore, in AI, my point is, AI applications, whether they are in agriculture or any of the developmental fields, we will be able to, the moment we create value for the user, Indian user is very, very intelligent. And therefore, if we create an application which is creating value, like UPI did for payment purposes, you will see it scale up very, very rapidly. In fact, the other part is, which again I covered, is, we really have this great opportunity to be the model for a large number of countries who face a similar problem, but don't have the capacity to do what we are able to do. And that's something which we can always...
That is the leadership of Global South.
That's the leadership of Global South, absolutely.
Since we are having this conversation under the banner of USISPF, I would like you to reflect upon another AI, which is America and India partnership. And I think, incidentally, that LLM is not responding or not giving very desired or very pleasing answers right now. But what do you see the future of that partnership, where artificial intelligence or ICETE initiative between India and the United States, how that progressing, leaving aside the political aspect of it?
I think, my own feeling is, and having seen this both in IT and in defense, there is a huge opportunity and growth of relationship between India and US. And this relationship is, if you look at it historically, in the Cold War era, there was really no relationship. How did the relationship build up? It got built up through industry and people-to-people contact. For a long time, the government came into the business of India-US relationship only in 2000. When the first military agreement was signed between India and US in 2000. Before that, the relationship was actually working so well between industry and people to people. And then from 2000 onwards, and I have been closely associated with that work personally, we saw tremendous amount of, coming together, relationship becoming more friendly and warm, and trust got developed. A lot of foundational agreements got signed. My point is, I think if you look at the fundamentals of this relationship, which started this relationship, whether it was industry to industry, whether it's people to people, those are as strong as ever. And therefore, to my mind, I think the democratic value systems that we believe are very much there. I only see further deepening of these ties. You can always have local, small aberrations from time to time. But
small interruptions.
In the macro, if you look at the macro picture, I think this relationship is only going in one direction. I must say that I have personally known of people who are still working on projects, on the projects with India, and Indian projects on the US side, US projects on the Indian side, and those are going on extremely well. So I think the industry-to-industry relationship is there, the people-to-people relationship is there.
Do you think that the new political policies, the H-1B visa policy, the disruption in the IT industry can actually derail some of those projects?
So the water will flow where as per the slope. So if India has the right talent, and if US needs more talent, I think that will give you the answer.
You made a very interesting reference about China in your book. And you actually appreciated the way China actually took that technological leap and, in fact, broke the glass ceiling and came to that high table of decision making and that power table. Where do you see India vis-a-vis China as far as that competition and presence on that high table of decision making and framing the rules of the game?
Yeah, so, on China, the book really says that, China has followed a very different model, and that suited their system. India cannot possibly follow that model, but because we are not a closed society, we have democracy and a vibrant democracy. In fact, sometimes too vibrant and too noisy, if I may use that word. So we really have to follow the model of innovation. I mean, there are two models. You close your system and create a application which would be relevant to you, and use that application, scale it up. And most of these technologies, because of network externalities, once they reach a certain scale, then they create a certain value, and then people come on those platforms. This is what China did. It's very difficult for India to create a closed model where we create our own applications, do not allow external applications. The other way where you create value is through creating your own applications, which are creating value, and people start joining. The moment people join those applications, those become big enough to be sustained. And you saw them, at least in the DPI, you have seen them, how that model has succeeded very well.
So India's model is more inclusive.
It's more inclusive, more participative, and innovation-led. So you have to create something. Even China, with the closed model, could replicate what was done elsewhere, and they would succeed, because they didn't have to create. They did innovate a lot, I'm not saying that, but in a closed model, you can re-engineer the same stuff and do it. But we will have to innovate and create value.
I think we are running out of time, but in the last, I want you to reflect upon another AI, which is maybe like Amrit Kal of India. Bharat 2047, the vision which many people are working for, making India a developed country by 2047. Do you actually believe that AI can actually bring Amrit Kal for India?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is what I was saying. India is on the cusp of, taking off as a country. And without AI, it would have been more difficult. With AI coming, it's actually, the timing is just right for India in some ways. And supplemented by AI, which is basically technology, we will see India grow with leaps and bounds. There's only one point, which is why I think this book is kind of relevant. I have no doubt about technologically we being able to do this. We have to create the right governance frameworks so that the benefits of the technology are channelized in the direction, and there will be multiple benefits. This book actually covers a very, very small part of the challenges. It talks about for example, monopolies being created, how you deal with that. It talks about differentiation. Because one of the challenges today is, everyone is using Chat GPT and you get the same article produced by everyone. I mean, how do you create differentiation?
Exactly.
If every company is using the same data sets to create the same solutions, they will all come with the same answers. So how do you create differentiation? And so you need to have policy frameworks which will answer those questions. I'm sorry?
This is actually bringing a very disturbing uniformity.
Absolutely. So disturbing uniformity, absolutely. So I think if we put the right frameworks, which I think will happen, I think there is no question AI is going to be that vehicle which will actually be catapulting India to a new league altogether.
So with this note, I think we close down this conversation. But thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. And I think.
Thank you.